Hi, good evening. So, there have been a lot of discussion on YouTube lately about children raised in religious homes, and in particularly pagan homes. I see that our pagan opinions have had some videos about this, and others as well. Now, this video isn't directly a video response to any of those, but I did feel like making a video about this topic. Now, I know that first of all, I want to address something that atheists have a tendency to complain about, that a child raised in a religious home, any sort of religious home, that's indoctrination. And it's a difficult question, because in a certain degree it is. But then again, so is everything about that, the lifestyle child is raised in, and are we going to demand that parents follow some sort of A4 line, a sort of standard that they can't deviate from, because we don't want to have the children in any way influenced by their parents? Because I don't think that would be a very good idea. So my opinion on this is that I'm against trying to force children into the religious mold of their parents. But I am not against parents including their children in their religious lives. If I ever had a child, now of course it's a bit difficult for me because I'm in a dual religion household, so it would be a bit complex, but of course my child would learn of my pagan practices, and they would be a part of it as long as they wanted to. But for me, if my child said, I want to be a Christian, or I want to be a Muslim, or I want to be an atheist, then I would be okay with it. I wouldn't try to force them to be pagan. And that's what I have a problem with. I think that parents will influence their children, no matter how you look at it. So, if you have a Christian home or a pagan home, that will influence the children. But also, the parents' point of views when it comes to politics will influence the children. Their tastes in music will influence the children. For example, I like classical music and opera, which my mother likes as well, so I've heard a lot of it growing up. Would I have had this interest if my mother was big into rock instead? I don't know, but it's a pretty good chance I wouldn't. So, yeah, I do not think it's wrong for parents to influence their children, because that's sort of what the role of a parent is. But I think it's wrong to try to force a child, so that if a child doesn't want to follow the religion of their parents anymore, the child should be respected as an individual and be allowed to go their own way. When that is said, when it comes to paganism and occult and children, I was an occultist as a child. I began practicing when I was 10 years old. And of course there were some difficulties with this. Now, I wasn't raised in a particularly occult home. My mother did practice some things that could be seen as New Age or occult. She is an alternative therapist, and she also practices healing, and she uses the pendulum. And for me, running around with a pendulum and using that to find lost dolls or my friends when playing hide and seek was completely natural, and I didn't know that this wasn't a tool that everybody used until I was much older. I didn't know that it was anything unusual at all. But generally my home was not a religious one, but I became religious when I was 10. And I think that it's a complicated issue with magic and children, because children can be pretty mean, and children don't have the sense of responsibility, they don't have the maturity as an adult individual has. For example, I have always been chubby, and I have always been teased for my appearance. And there was a girl in my class who everybody was talking about how enormously pretty she was. And she was very cute. And she was the popular girl at school, and I was always picked last for everything, and well, bottom line is I was jealous. So I cursed her. One day I couldn't participate in the swimming class, and she asked me to watch over her silver ring. And I took that opportunity to curse that ring. And after I'd done that, accident after accident happened to this girl. I don't remember if she broke her arm or if she broke her leg, but she broke a bone. She had a lot of misfortune, and this persisted until during a gym class she broke her ring. And what I did was not right, but it was the effect of an immature mind, the mind of a child, who then had a power over the situation that and nobody really to guide her. Because that's what occultism is. It is. Magic is, while it can be a form of worship, it is also power over your environment. And that sort of thing should be handled responsibly. So, yeah, and it wasn't the only time I used curses as a child, because, like I said, children might resort to violence, where an adult might think better of it. And a curse is nothing other than an occult form of violence. Now, I think that magic can be extremely empowering. It can be extremely good for a child. It is a way to express your creativity. It is a way to handle difficult situations. It is a way to improve your life and the life of those that you hold dear. So I think that also for children, magic can be a wonderful thing. But I think that a child that is taught magic needs to also be taught a morality to go with it. And they have to be guided in what it should be used for. Now, I was alone because I sort of discovered my interest in the occult and a talent for it on my own. And I think that did create a lot of good things for my life. It definitely helped me through a lot of very difficult periods. It helped me improve so many things, so it's definitely a plus for me. But it also happened things that I am not proud of today, because I didn't have anyone to guide me. I do think that it is best if a child is to practice magic, that child has a person, either a parent or a teacher of some sort, to guide them. Because I think that magic can, to a certain degree, be too powerful for a child to handle alone. Of course, I'm not going to sit there and say that children shouldn't do magic unless they have an adult that does such and such, and I'm not going to sit there and say at what age is it okay for someone to practice magic alone. I'm just speaking out of personal experience, what I think is a good, would be a good good way to handle it. that that it's preferable that a child who is practicing magic has someone to teach them how to use it responsibly. Now, that being said, I have absolutely no problems with pagans teaching their children how to be pagan. I have absolutely no problem with children taking a part in pagan celebrations along with their parents. Why should it be any more of a problem that a child go to a pagan celebration than they going to church? Paganism isn't something dark and horrible that you have to keep out of way of the children. Of course, like with a lot of churches who has programs for children, it is often easier for children to understand it if the rituals they go to are family oriented or are at least made somewhat more simple so that they can more easily understand it. So yeah, that's sort of my opinions on it. Because, like I said, I grew up as an occult child, so I do have an interest in this topic. And for the most part, yeah, I think it's okay for kids to practice the supernatural, and I also think it's okay for children to be a part of their parents' religion, as long as the parents don't try to force the children. So yeah, and this has been my first video with a better camera. At least I hope it will be a better video with this camera, because lately the camera on my laptop has never been that good, and it has starting to give out on me. So yeah, I hope you have a great evening, and blessed be.